Now we're recording.
Okay, so
Truth in advertising.
What episode number are we on? Anyway?
160.
160. Holy shit.
Ooh.
You mean there's somebody who's listened to us for 160 episodes?
At least one.
You know, there are people all over the world that somehow record us and keep us in their library.
It's like 23 and dog episodes.
Oh, okay. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, abridged versions? Is that what we're doing now? Okay. All right. So, how we all doing, guys? Here at the Square to the Round Table. Hey, live broadcasting here on Clubhouse.
Yeah, no.
All right. Hey, live from
How groovy is that?
We're in
How
front of the
groovy is
Clubhouse.
that?
Times 850.
Yeah, seriously. Hey, come on up.
Come on down to the Clubhouse. We're right in front.
Yeah, hey, absolutely. Hello, come on through the hallway.
We're in the trailer shaped like a radio.
Yeah. Yeah, come on by.
There's truth to that, you know.
Hey, I was on the promotion teams in Indianapolis for a station that had one of those.
Oh, I had one too.
That is a nightmare.
I interned at a local station around here, and they had the giant rolling radio, which is like trailer shaped like a boombox, and
my senior,
I follow that stupid trailer all summer long.
My last year in Indy, I did an internship. It was funny. I was just talking about this with somebody the other day. I had an internship, and one of the things they had was the boombox. One of the two stations had the boombox, and I was so glad I didn't have to drive that thing. I'm like, if I drove this thing, this is an accident waiting to happen. There's no question in my mind. But it did remind me of something else that happened that while I was working for them that I think you guys will get a kick out of. So like the first week I'm doing my internship for them this is like when the Colts still had Jim Harbaugh, so this will date it a little bit. We're talking mid-90s. And this is before Peyton Manning. And so the Colts are in the AFC Championship game, and the Hard Rock station is doing a contest that they have 2 tickets to go to Pittsburgh to watch the game. And you have to, and what would you do for the 2 tickets? So the guy who won says, I'm willing to let myself be covered. I'm willing to wear all kinds of Pittsburgh uniform stuff, okay, and get covered in horse manure.
Whoa.
From head to toe. From head to toe.
What?
So here's the thing. You heard me. From head to toe, horse manure.
Shit.
Shit. Yeah,
no. Fuck that.
So,
probably had a fecal fetish anyway, so.
So the guy, this is what the guy had to do because he's going to get the tickets. Okay? I can't remember where else he went. So, my first week as an intern literally is, they're like, hey, you need to find a venue that's going to allow us to come in and do this. And I'm like, oh, this should be easy, no problem, except for the part that I forget, like, we're bringing in manure to a restaurant.
Yeah, that's not gonna huge health code violation. Yeah,
that's not gonna fly.
You'll get plenty of flies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not in a good way.
So we did. So here's what we found. So at the time, Union Station was downtown, and Hooters was in Union Station downtown, and they had again. Keep in mind, they have an outdoor deck that they said that we could use. The thing is, keep in mind, we're talking about January. So it's an outdoor deck in January, okay?
Shit.
That we can use for this thing to cover this guy, to do this thing with the manure. But otherwise they're like, well, you can do it, but it has to be outside. But, and of course, the staff for the station is just thrilled because the afternoon guy's like, I'm going to get to hang out at Hooters all day. This is going to be great, blah, 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 blah. And so he's all thrilled about this and he's loving this. So we get there and by the way, I had to find it. I mean, I'm the intern and it's like, oh, you got to find a face painter. What are you guys doing? What else do you guys do? Do I just do everything? So I had to find a face painter. I had to get all the media to show up for this thing. Like, I had to, like, send press releases and all this stuff. I mean, I in fairness, at least it wasn't me having to get a cup of coffee. So anyway, the only good news is I don't have to find the manure. Thank God for that. That's all I can say. And by the way, they find the manure. No. One of our marketing managers like, oh no, we have to water down the manure. I'm like, I'm not doing that. You can do that. And he did. And I was like, now it looks all nasty and stuff. Anyway, so we do the event and it's time to go and we got to get rid of all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, so we're just going to it's like, okay, so you guys can just throw this out. They're like, no, we can't throw this out. This is a health code violation. And everybody's like, and like all these people who are like the marketing people are like, well, we can't put it back in the car or anything like that. And I'm like, all right. I look at them, I go, well, I'll take care of this. Watch this. Like, okay, do you have a thing so I can put it in the garbage so we can take it to the car? And they're like, oh yeah, sure. I'm like, all right. And there's a and then I'm like, I looked at them, I'm like, where is the garbage for downstairs? Like all the way downstairs at the basement in Union Station. And they're like, oh, it's here. I'm like, okay. I'll be right back. So I'm taking this stuff and I cover over all the manure with everything else. Okay? I cover it over and I'm going like to the dump section of where they dump all the stuff out.
No, the garbage area. Yeah, the
garbage area.
Right.
The dump, the facility-wide dumpster.
Yeah.
And of course there's a cop there. I don't know why, but there's a cop there. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, Jesus. Should we make the same word? I'm like, whatever. What is he going to do? So I dump it in there and I get done and I bring the thing back and it's so funny because they're like, it's like, oh, thank you for getting rid of that. Thank you for getting rid of that. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm like, this is like my first week of the internship. And I'm like literally sitting here. It's like, Jiminy Christmas, is this what this internship is going to be like? So the next week, the other station had something going on that I was not aware of, where they did this battle of the sexes thing, and the male host ends up where he is doing some sort of mud match with like this American Gladiator woman, and we're doing it at the mall. And I swear to you, I look at the marketing manager, and the first words out of my mouth are, I'm like, okay, so I go, week 1 it's shit, week 2 it's mud. Eventually we'll get the ground right. And he looks at me, I'm like, wait, is week 4 water or what happens? And he's like, he just looks at me, he's like, yeah, it's been kind of a weird couple weeks for you. And I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, the only good news is I didn't have to like build the wrestling ring or anything like that. Anyway, and by the way, it was lame because it was totally like, it wasn't like they actually wrestled or anything. It was like totally like staged. Like they like made this whole big.
Was it like choreographed?
They fight with like giant Q-tips or some shit.
I mean, it wasn't even like WWE choreographed.
American Gladiator.
It was like worse than Glow choreographed,
Okay.
It was bad. It was just bad. And I'm like just sitting there going, oh, this could be interesting because she really, obviously they don't want the guy getting hurt and they don't want the woman getting hurt in the thing either. And, and you get the idea.
Local radio station, goofy radio stunts.
Yeah, well, and the problem is it wasn't even a good local radio stunt.
Well,
that's the problem.
Oh.
Yeah, goofy radio stunts. I'm glad I wasn't with Mancow, that guy Turd and everything getting locked inside mailboxes and shit and left there for days.
I don't know.
I did meet Turd once, and it was funny. I was on my way. I was at Hancock to try to get an internship with Rock 103.5. Ironically, for the Mancow show. And it was funny because I knew Psycho Steve because I had been going to games during the week, and I'd run into Psycho Steve, and he gave me the name of who to go talk to over there. And so it was really funny because I show up and I'm wearing like a suit and a tie, and I'm in like the elevator, and I just get lucky because Psycho Steve Grad, shows up at the exact same time I'm in the elevator. He's like, "Hey, how are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, pretty good." He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm here for my internship interview." He's like, "Oh, that's really cool." So, he's talking to me. He introduces me to Turd, and apparently that morning they made Turd do traffic. Well, yeah. All I need to say was that they made Turd do traffic. And
it was bad. It was Turd. It's bad. It's so bad.
It was so bad. And someone was comparing to the out there about it. And they're like, he's like, "What do you expect me to do? Fuck these guys." Like, what? But
So how did the interview go?
So it was funny because I walk in with them, which may have been to my detriment, because I walk in with them and they both know, and like Steve knows me, and now it's kind of like, oh, maybe this is somebody that Steve knows.
A friend of theirs, yeah.
Yeah, or something along those lines. And the head of the interns is the girl who was known as Phone Girl. And,
okay, yeah, I remember Phone Girl.
And so, first of all, I was funny because I couldn't say. I don't remember if I was dumb enough to say it, because I was pretty young at the moment, to say, "You're not done justice by how you're described on the show." Because she was gorgeous. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. But literally, like, some of the questions were like, if you get called into the room and Mankind decides to, like, dress you down, how will you react?
Oh.
And I'm like, I'm not going to let him basically sit there and do that without a fight. Without me getting my shots in, which I'm sure did not play well. The other thing is I hate to say it, it was a little overqualified by that point, which is kind of crazy because I was still starting out. So it's like, I wasn't exactly overqualified, but I was overqualified. I had done, between that and I had done enough. And in fairness, I'm kind of glad I didn't get it, because I would have had to figure out how I was getting downtown every morning without having to pay a fortune to park a car, or, because it's like, when you live in the burbs, to get downtown, it's a pain in the ass, because it's like,
yep.
All right, you could take the L, but to take the L, you have to leave it like the crack. I mean, you have to leave at the crack of dawn, and you're like there. You have to like leave at the crack of dawn, and you're leaving at a time when it's like, that's like the worst time to take the L.
And when he's got a morning show, you probably gotta be gotta be there by 4.
4? Shit, I bet it's earlier than that. I bet it's like.
Well, I'm sure he's in the middle of show prep if they're on the air by 5.
Right. I would imagine. I bet I had to be there by 3, which means that really, in reality, I'm taking the L at what time?
At 1.
1, 2 in the morning?
Yeah.
Then, no thanks.
Ivan, what's on TV?
Yeah, what's on TV?
Oh, Major Crimes.
Okay.
Okay. Major Crimes. So yeah, no, I didn't mean to totally get us off rails, but yeah, I had to, my 1 year of doing a promotions internship, I swear to God, I had to do like all the wacky stuff you can imagine. We had like the money booth where like you go in the money booth. We had that. I remember having, I had to drive in the parade, the St. Patrick's Day parade in Indianapolis. I remember that too. But yeah. Wacky radio promotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a thing when I had to follow the boombox, and it was summer of '94 when I had just gotten out of broadcasting school, and we had so many different places I had to follow that trailer to, and I kept reminding, of course, what was it when my first, obviously, I've told the story on past shows before about my first day in radio. I had to dress up as a cellular phone, and that was...
I don't think I remember hearing about this.
Oh, I've told the story on this show before.
Okay.
But it was an inflatable suit around. I had to wear like an electric backpack with a blower, and the suit inflated around me from the waist up of a cellular phone. It was nice when you're indoors in the air conditioning, but when you go outside, it just blows warm air.
Warm air.
Yeah, and then you're out there, and And then lightning hit the station and knocked us off the air, and they said I can go home. That was my first day in radio. Had lightning not hit the station, I probably would have gotten heat stroke or something.
Oh my goodness.
And then having to follow that damn trailer all summer long.
Yeah.
Friday nights at high schools for football games, having to deal with the stupid kids asking questions about the station and then just antagonizing me in general. Because having to sit here and pass out water bottles and T-shirts, stupid. But those days are behind me, thank God.
I was.
Well, yeah, and then remember my first techniques at a radio station in Cuamo, Puerto Rico, of which the electronics haven't changed since the 1930s.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
We're talking jack fields, for those of you who wonder what jack fields are. Equate them to like your headphones plugging into the slot there, but there's 40 of them.
Oh,
To
God.
connect things from one thing to another. Okay? Microphone, Western Electric 440, okay, of make of 1928 carbon, okay? Fucking thing is ancient. And the guy who must have been about 100 fucking years old, man, comes out. Hey, you the guy, huh? I said, yeah. Okay, I got 2 rules. Listen, don't touch. Wouldn't let me touch nothing. I had to watch this old fart go ahead and do this thing. I'm just like sitting there just watching. I mean, they had the old 16-inch radio platters, transcription platters. I mean, this thing was from the fucking Stone Age. It was both amazing
Seems to run on some kind of electricity.
Yeah.
Are you sure there might be a hamster in the back?
I mean, all I know, dudes. I was, my mother, finagled, somebody in the mayor's office saying that I had aspirations for radio. Well, the guy sent me to this, the guy sent me to this radio station and everything under the guise of apprentice. It was more like me just watching him do his thing and just, hoping that, the guy doesn't fall out and then I have to take it over. God forbid.
Did he ever let you on the air?
Well, once. Okay. That old dude, I guess, called up somebody in the office and said he's not going to show up today. All right. He had already shown me the pre-programming of what needs to go on the air in his absence, which came out of several 16-inch transcription discs from 1938, full of all these old bands from all these places. Like, these are like all old radio transcriptions and shit. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there embracing history for the first time in my life. I'm like, geez, what a thrill, to actually see these firsthand, which fed from my want of, all things recorded ever since then. But yeah, it was quite the experience. And, I was to make announcements. In other words, in Puerto Rico, they still run the old systems of big bullhorns on the top of cars, and they got tape decks inside of them that basically have a political message. So I was doing the Muppet voices in my terrible Spanish for the Democratic National Ticket of Puerto Rico.
Nice.
So I was just like, yeah, that was my first ever gig. My check came to $4.29.
Whoa.
Oh, you were a big time radio guy.
I was like, major money. But then see, at that time, I was under the mayor's program where, people coming in from the States, and if they're not able to get a job, they get an allotment. They get an allotment of money until they're able to find something. So, kind of that kind of a support system. So But it was cool, I mean, to actually have that. I was there for quite a while until I got picked up by Alpha Rock 106, and then here's where the whole radio world does a 360 from antique to ultra modern. I'm just like, damn.
Okay.
So, yeah, they had two kinds of country and western.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you remember, Ivan, when they made us do all those stupid reads for VVX?
Yeah, I sure do remember.
The ones that were really, the ones where it was like, I don't know who wrote that copy, but it was like, some of them were absolutely horrible.
What kind of reads? Were they just PSAs, or what were they?
No, it was like ad reads, and it was like...
Oh, like live ads?
Random, yeah, it was like random shit that we had to read, that like, every so often you had to read one, and it was like I remember, the one I remember is Sigmund's Berry Farm, the farm where the berries is. That's the one I remember.
It's like the Midnight Bomber who's bomb strike at midnight.
That's the one I remember. I remember it because it was that funny when I read it the first time.
Wow.
Like, that's the one I remember. I remember there were some others that were really bad. That's why I'm asking you, Ivan, do you remember the other ones? Because that's the one I remember.
I don't know. I mean, because that was always changing, because once Chip got in there and started doing all this crazy shit in the cars, they were always changing up. But the ones that I liked the best were the ones that Mike made for the station. I mean, beautiful.
No, Taz did. Taz did all the cool spots.
Oh yeah, but then you did like some of the holiday ones, like Mr. Hanky.
I just did just legal IDs. That's all.
Those were fun.
Yeah, no, I just was remembering we had all those weird reads that we had to do. For a
Berry
while
Farm. That's awesome.
Sigmund's Berries, where the farm where the berries is. There were other ones that were just equally as bad. I just can't remember what they were.
That's good then.
I just can't remember what they. I was hoping Ivan might. What am I thinking? Ivan has worse memory than I do. He remembered that one.
Ivan's got a pretty good memory when it comes to certain things.
No, you know what? I bet Ivan has them somewhere on a tape somewhere. I bet. Because I would imagine that those.
I don't think those live reads would be on any of his shows.
No, I mean because. He might have had to read them on like some of like the shows he had on VVX for a while. He might have. I can't remember for the life of me.
Well, I do got fractures of different shows on some of my reels in the collection of different shows.
Yeah, well,
they might exist on those. I'll have to check them out.
Like I said, that's the only reason. I thought maybe, Ivan, you maybe remembered some of the other ones. I just remember that one. I remember both of us laughing our asses off at it. And I want to say I didn't do it the first time as a live read. I think what happened was I'm in the studio and you were doing the read. And literally you said it and the mic's open and I couldn't stop laughing, and you could hear me over the air like having my head on. and you can't control it now. You're trying to get through it, and I'm like trying to. I don't have it so hard. I think I fell off the chair. It was that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like I said. Yeah. So where'd you spend this week?
Actually, I didn't spend anywhere this week. I was actually very quiet.
Oh, no, we're not even on Twitch or Facebook or nothing?
Nothing?
No, nothing. Didn't do a thing.
No.
Just kind of floated the week away outside of just,
She's talking about last week. We went to,
well, that was Mustache. That was a Friday.
Well, that was last week.
Yeah, that was last week. So,
yeah.
Oh,
How did Mustache go?
Oh, Mustache was cool. I mean, we had a full house for the Mundo 80s, and that was really, really good.
So you had kind of a Fu Manchu.
Well, I came, I waltzed in, and I got myself set up and everything. There was must have been about 25 people already there. So they went off the record that they were listening to. They came over to me. I did the groovy thing, and by about 1:00, it was like standing room only. It was crazy. And, and then, like I said, I was just doing all those 80s tunes that Roxy Music, Talking Heads, Human League, all matter of this, or, some mixed in, some other stuff,
Violent Femmes?
Violent Femmes, no Violent Femmes, but I did find one on the Psychedelic Furs. That was cool.
Spandau Ballet?
Oh yeah, True did it.
Okay. That's the one, right? It's like,
you know my love is true. And then of course there was the other one, which somebody actually asked for it twice. I played Aha, Take On Me. Some guy actually came back and said, can you play it again? And I'm like, all right. And everybody was into that. That was fun.
Yeah.
Wow. And of course, the theme to, let me see, to the Flashdance, Irene Cara, Oh, What a Feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's another one. And, so it was just that type of a night. Also did some Love and Rockets, which was really cool. I love Love and Rockets, I'm Alive. Have you ever heard the track?
Yep.
Oh man, love that track.
It's been a while.
Man, but I love that track. I love Love and Rockets. They make a great comic book too, if that's your thing too. I mean, I'm sure, in the canon of those who listen to Love and Rockets, I'm sure they make the association right away to the comic book too, which is really quite a great read. Oh, picked up my copy of Sweet Paprika, which of course was the.
You talked about that comic, the graphic novel.
Is this an anamorph or polymorph or whatever the heck that is, or?
It's anthropomorphic.
Yeah, okay. Whatever the heck that is.
Okay, and
not mighty morphic.
Well, actually, not
hydroponic.
No. Well, actually, no, not so. No, these are real.
Systematic.
These are real humans. Oh, well, not actually human. One's a devil woman. The other is this angel named Dill. Okay.
Like the pickle?
Oh, yeah, like the pickle. There you go. Now you're reading it. So anyway, yeah, it's about this devil who has made her way into the business world, from being somebody who was like an executive secretary, made her way through the company, CCO, and all this other stuff. Problem is, her dad was so hard on her about the affairs of, love and sex that she's kind of, pent up and everything and not feeling the ways of trying to get, into the groove of wanting to do the groovy thing. Enters Dill, the angel. And of course, as he comes in, he swoons the entire female and some male populace in the office. And he's just a compliment with every delivery. But not to Paprika. Oh no, not happening. Okay? And she just sits back and Paprika thinks about this and her thoughts keep going back to Dill. And all she thinks is, what use do I have for a guy who's nothing more than partying and fucking? I mean, what do I get out of all that? I mean, what did the other woman got that I can't get? And then it just slips into this whole abyss of storyline. But yeah, it's a very engaging story and very well read. And it's a great read. So it's very, and Image, it's out on Image. And let's see.
Is it monthly?
What?
Is it monthly?
Yes, it's a monthly.
Okay.
So yes, number 2 comes up in September. Yeah, right. I can't wait. And then, so I got involved with that, and that was cool. So other than that, I don't think I did anything else. Well, there it is, my guys, and everybody in the audience. That's where I was at this week. I know, not Las Vegas, but hey, it's fine. Hey, Jeff, what did you get to do?
So let's see. So, last night or what would be for those listening on the podcast would be Sunday night. We had Sunday night stories, a little bit of a little bit smaller group, but it was really, really interesting. We had 4 great storytellers that night, so I'm thankful for that. And then, that'll happen again next week, and I'm thrilled about that. I'm trying to think, what else did we have? What else did I do last? Oh, so I tried out. Netflix has a new show called Hit and Run that is based on this. It starts in Israel, and this guy's wife or girlfriend, I shouldn't say wife, girlfriend, gets hit in a hit and run, and then it spirals into some sort of interesting, international thriller kind of thing. I gotta be honest, I got through one episode, and I'm making it sound more interesting than it was.
It's a tale of revenge, or?
I don't know. I didn't get that far. I gotta be honest with you. I got one episode in, and it's like it's just too slow. It's 9 episodes, but like the first episode, I'm just like, this is dragging. Get to the point. What are we trying to do?
The first one should be able to grab you.
Yeah, and it really didn't. It grabbed me all right. It grabbed me how I didn't want to be grabbed.
Ooh.
Yeah, I just wasn't. Like I said, I'm only mentioning it because some people are saying it's been pretty good, but I'll tell you, I was not a fan. Now, on the other hand, I did also catch on Netflix. I caught. So Sony did an animated feature specifically for Netflix called Vivo.
Yeah, I saw you post about that. I was like, oh, that looks interesting.
It was really good. I mean, if you're into the whole, if you're into the whole animated musical thing, it's really good. I mean, honestly, I think it's good enough. It should get nominated for Best Animated Film this year.
What platform is it on?
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. And the lead is, what's his name? The guy from Hamilton, that Lin-Manuel
Miranda. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's the lead, and he's playing like this monkey.
He's a monkey.
He's a monkey. And I don't want to get into too much of it because I don't want to ruin the story, but and he has a journey and blah blah blah. And honestly, the funny thing is when I was watching it, guys, and this is the only thing I kept thinking is like all the stuff that this movie does, I was like kind of sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, boy, remember when we were talking about Soul and we were like, man, where's all the cool music and all this stuff?
Yeah.
This movie had it. This movie got the part where it's like, hey, by the way, we're about music. Like, and we're a story about music, but we're also going to do music here. And so they didn't seem to forget that part. Whereas with Soul, I think that's where it lacked.
Soul, yeah, well, see, Soul, it was more the background aesthetics and everything, not anything really out front and center. And from what you're telling me about this, it's actually a part of the aesthetic where it's actually front and center.
I mean, story-wise, it's very different. I'm just saying, the only reason I thought of Soul is, like I said, they're both where music is part of the story.
Right.
And I thought it was interesting because Vivo does a much better job of making sure that there's music within the story where we're talking a lot about music. And you know what? There's some parts at the end where it's like, I'm not crying, you're crying. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's a really well done piece. If you're not into this kind of stuff, you're probably gonna sit there and go, "Oh, this was hokey at times and a little lame and whatnot." But I mean, if it's definitely geared more towards kids. But if you're an adult, it certainly is worthwhile, and if you can suspend that, I don't know. I would
wonder why I've never heard of this film until you watched it.
Because it's brand new, and it's only going to be on Netflix. It's a
Netflix
exclusive.
Only, okay.
It's a Netflix exclusive from Sony.
See, I don't spend evenings scrolling through Netflix. Is that how you found it?
Ironically, I hate to tell you how I found it. My mom saw it on things to watch for the weekend
Okay.
in the Sun-Times or the Tribune or something. And she saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, let's give it a shot. Seems interesting.
Okay.
And he, he's in it. I can't remember. Oh, Gloria Estefan's in it.
Wow.
She's not bad.
Gloria Estefan's in it. Zoe Saldana is in it.
Does Gloria sing?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
That'd be great.
And Michael Roker's in it too.
Nice.
So, like I said, it's fun, and it's a good all ages thing. So it's a high recommend for me, especially if you've got kids. You'll enjoy it. If anything, I kind of laughed. It's like Lin-Manuel seems a lot better in this movie. Like, if anything, a lot of things that were done in this movie are things I would like to have seen in The Heights.
Okay.
Like, In the Heights could have.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, you remember you said that was kind of underwhelming.
Yeah. So to me, that's where I would be on that. But that's really kind of the two things I caught this week, other than Suicide Squad, which we'll obviously get to and talk about at some point. I'm trying to think if there was anything else of note this week, of anything other than, it was funny. I made a customer service rep really laugh pretty hard the other day, because they said to me, they're like, I was looking for something for a client, for a promotional client, and they said, if you can bear with me, let me check that. And I said, oh, really? And I said, I guess I could do that, but what kind of bears are we talking about? Are we talking about like Chicago Bears? Is it Mitch Trubisky? And she couldn't stop laughing for 5 minutes.
All right.
She couldn't stop laughing for like 5 minutes. She's like, I really needed that. I'm like, you're welcome. I always find it funny when people say, "Can you bear with me?" It's like, I don't know. I don't know that I could go the other way. It's like, well, my window's open. I'm not sure that I could get naked right now.
No.
Are you naked right now?
They're providing them with the Bear Centrals, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. So Ivan,
that's what it is.
There was a. I know you. I don't know if you want to talk about it here, but you did make a post the other day about a friend you'd lost.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, Angelo. Yeah, I mean.
So you see, I don't have friends that I've I've got school acquaintances that I'll see every few weeks or months or years or whatever. But I'm not like, not had any friends that are like, we parted ways with and we have, we not stayed out of contact with. But this seems like this kind of it gave me the feels a bit.
Well, I mean, cause it, I just thought about that, I was, that night when I wrote it. I mean, here it is. Here's his sister I haven't seen since 1979. We were both 18 then, A lot of time went by, and then when you see coming in together and then you see an older version of yourself, then of course my godmother, who I haven't seen for equally as long, and it's just like, here you are, and, and then you start talking about the old days, and, and everything that we did in the old days is actually in that post. And, anytime I was feeling down, when I thought about it now, after it making known in my head, it's like that's a cabinet I haven't opened in a long time, but then when I did, and I realized, he, anytime I was crying, he always friended me and, made sure I got home okay. And if I had a terrible day, he'd sit and he'd listen. And we both loved music. We were always about the music. And, also, before they, filled in Washington Street, not Washington, I'm sorry, Wisconsin Street, when they filled it in, it's no longer a street anymore. It's a bunch of like sitting areas now. That whole street's gone. I have a story that happened on that street, but that doesn't bear repeating here right now. But when that was an actual street, we used to have guys from Contemporary Films. They used to go around the area, the hippie guys with the 8mm cameras, making all these little movies, and then they would block off the streets on the weekends, and they would show the movies, the kids around the block and stuff. I mean, that's how tight our neighborhood was back then. And of course, you had the up and coming bands that were looking to play out, so they would play the street fairs. And I remember one time, I think I was with Angelo, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. But, I walked up to the lights and I looked down, and it's little fluorescent lights and everything. I looked down and noticed that my feet were glowing, and the engineer comes over. He goes, if you don't get away fast enough, the rest of you will start glowing. You never seen two kids go running off. It's such a fright. But it was, it's just me and Angelo. And then, got in touch on the old Facebook and spoke a few times, and now here it is. I'm sitting with his most precious of things. I'm looking at his record collection, which, like I mentioned, I'm going to do a memorial for my friend, my god brother, Angelo Nieves, sometime in October. So I'll keep the details in, as I get them. But yeah, definitely something that, I want to do. And, I feel it's only right. He would have wanted them still to be played, to be enjoyed as he played them. And I'm sure he enjoyed them. So, to that, that being a blessing in of itself. And I can only hope to be so lucky someday when, my time comes, and I know that someone will take care of my little bit of history, my little bit of, peace on earth, my little bit of here I am. And well, this is what I used to love, and I hope you love it too.
Yeah. Sorry about your friend. Yeah, that sucks.
Mm-hmm. Although I do find it ironic that he shooed you away from the glowing transmitter, and yet decades later, Ivan would sleep under that glow on a regular basis. I do kind of find it. It's like he told you to stay away, and yet decades later,
and you're still sleeping in the transmitter room.
On the floor.
Those were the days.
Indeed.
So, what, Mike? Anything happen interesting in the hardware store?
No. Well, we were under a thunderstorm. Had lots of bad storms today. We had under tornado watch today, and then the power did go out at the store.
Oh.
And it's a big store, and when the power goes out, it's pitch black.
Quick, ice cream, run!
All right, get to the. Let's get to the freezers quick.
Now we had a backup generator, but we were only out for a minute, not even a minute.
No ice cream from Mike.
No ice cream. I'm not a big ice cream guy. You know that.
I know.
Yeah, the power went out today. That was exciting. Didn't have any lights go out. Oh, it was like we had a thunderstorm and we had a power surge and a lightning strike and knocked out 30 of our lights, and some of the fixtures started smoking from our ceiling.
Nice.
So that was exciting.
right through the transformers.
You don't know whether to run or it's do I turn off the power and turn all the lights off?
You better call the hardware store and ask.
Yeah, better call someone who knows anything about light bulbs.
Oh wait, you work for hardware.
Yeah, I am.
Never mind.
That's me. But Sunday was the celebration of the 35th anniversary of the 1986 animated feature Transformers the movie. So me and a lot of my Facebook friends, we celebrated by posting and showing off our 4K DVDs that came in last month. And I read the 3-part Marvel comic that I just recently finished the set of 3 of, and man, those 80s comics, some of the dialogue is so corny. I was just laughing out loud in my chair. Who
are the artists and who are the writers on that?
Don Perlin, Bob Budiansky, and of course this is when Jim Shooter was running Marvel.
Oh God!
And
there's good and bad to Jim Shooter.
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
But yeah, it was quite a trip. It was fun. I had a fun little romp there. The 3-issue series of the movie adaptation, the comic adaptation of the movie, which came in like December, which coincided with the UK release of the movie. But I finished putting the screw. Oh no, I'm setting this up for Jeff. I finished setting up finished installing the screw hole fillers on my HasLab Unicron because the arms are identical.
Oh, so that's what you do with that.
Yes.
Screw hole filler.
Screw hole fillers. That's me. I installed.
I love that band.
All 22 of them.
He did it twice.
Pictures are on the Facebook. I'd digitally edit some of them.
22 times? You're a
22 times in one day. Oh yeah, you know
it. 22 screw holes in one day.
I'm kind of sore.
That's impressive. Don't you worry about chafing?
Oh, absolutely. Well, the price tag of that Unicron, yeah, I do feel kind of abused. But I did, and of course I did watch my 4K print of the movie, and not much different from the Blu-ray, but they got me. I'm sure there'll be in 5 years there'll be another 12K or 24K print of the DVD that I'll have to buy because it'll have some exclusive poster or some shit. They got me in. They got me for the long run.
That's the worst part. Is it's like, hey, we have this poster. How much does it take to make the poster? Like 5 cents.
It's a good keep on paying.
Put it in the DVD set and sell it for $20. And the fanboys be all like, please, thank you, sir, may I have another?
How much does the whole thing cost with this new 5-cent new poster? About $3. About $3? Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. So I had a great day Sunday. I watched, of course, the Suicide Squad. Before we get into the fact that, I just want to say I had major streaming issues last night. This movie came out on Friday.
Oh no, Friday night I had trouble.
Yeah. Well, this movie came out, was it Thursday night or early Friday it dropped?
It was Thursday night, what would be, I want to say 7 p.m. Eastern time, 6 Central. But Friday night, and by the way, when I say Friday night, I tried to get it around 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. And
it took me 4 tries to get it to go.
Wow.
So, because to that point, I have a guess as to why you and I had streaming problems, but we won't talk about that yet because I want to talk about the actual movie before we get into all the other bullshit that I've seen all weekend already.
Yeah, I tried watching. I watched it, finished watching it. I was like, oh my god, I don't know if I'm gonna I 3 tries. I couldn't get more than 10 minutes in, so I had to fast forward in like 10 minutes and then go pick up from there. And but yeah, I finally got to watch it. It finally the buffering stopped, and I got to watch the film. It was, I guess we can start. I guess there'll be spoilers for the Suicide Squad here on HBO Max and, of course, in theaters. So I want to skip maybe a few minutes.
Oh, no, go any longer than that.
Probably. Oh, boy. Okay. So it's going to be about 10, 15 minutes or so.
So
spoilers ahead for Spoilers Ahoy, mateys.
You're going to have to kind of forward.
Yeah, hang on tight. I'm going to have to mute you guys because I'm seeing it tomorrow.
Okay. All right, Ivan, why don't you step out and come back in 15 minutes?
Go ahead. Yeah, go eat. This is your time to go
eat. Have a nice dinner.
I will.
It's podcast dinner time.
All right. Thanks so much, Joe.
Enjoy your dinner.
I'll close him off for a second. All right.
He's muted.
Yes.
Okay, so this was a sequel, I guess. Was it a sequel? Or was it another one-off?
That's a good question. I don't know. I guess it's technically a sequel. It's not really made clear. By the way, it's literally 5 years, practically to the date, when they released this of the original.
Yeah, and I'm going to preface this by saying I have not been able to sit through the first Suicide Squad. I've got the DVD over there, but I've not been able to sit through it. I just simply can't.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I really enjoyed the first one.
Okay.
Now, I didn't have a lot of high expectations of it, and I watched it kind of like as a popcorn film.
Yeah.
But I've always enjoyed the first one a little bit more than everybody else.
And I didn't see Birds of Prey, which was the movie after that with Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
Yeah, you don't
were there any references to that in this film?
A little, but not many.
Okay.
Not enough that you need to worry about it.
Yeah. I know she didn't make any offhand remarks that I didn't recognize, so. Okay.
Right.
So, okay, the Suicide Squad opens with Michael Rooker's character. I think his name is Savant.
Yeah, I don't recognize the character, by the way.
These third and fourth tier DC villains.
Well, I mean, I know who some of these characters are, but I didn't recognize that one.
Right.
I mean, just to give perspective, so in the original book, back in the 80s that was written by John Ostrander, one of the things about that book was there really was, like, a penchant for, like, killing off, like, a third or fourth string, like, villain every so often, like, along those lines. And, like, where, like, DC was like, never really a major villain, but enough of one where people were like, shit, they're killing off characters. Wow. Just to kind of give it a feel. But, in fairness, I kind of laugh because with Suicide Squad, at least in the comic, what's interesting to me is sometimes you got bigger names than the names that you've gotten in some of these movies. Like Joker was briefly, I don't remember how many issues it was that the Joker was actually on the team at one point. But we won't. But that, again, just to give preface. But yeah, so we start out with that beginning section that you're talking about. Go ahead. Sorry,
yeah, and they do kind of jump around a bit, almost like in a Tarantino kind of sense.
Yeah.
Where, like, especially like in the third act, where something happens and then all of a sudden it goes to 8 minutes earlier. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It's jarring. It's off-putting. I don't know. So they say this movie is promoted, from the genius of, or the crazy mind of James Gunn.
Yeah.
That was how they promoted this film.
I will tell you, I did have a good laugh at the beginning when the staff is literally having bets on who's not. There's literally a death pool going on.
Yeah. There's a pool going on who will die first and who's going to die.
Who's going to die and who's going to live. I thought that's
that's like, the one saving grace of this film for me, is that there were some great laugh out loud moments.
Yeah, I mean that was amusing. Literally, it's like, like literally, like, did anyone check if the weasel can swim? That was
didn't even give it a life preserver.
It's like, and the best is like Waller has this look on her face and she's looking at the other people and they're like, what? We didn't think to check it. That kind of thing. I mean, there were moments like that were really, really good.
Yeah.
But,
and some of the action, the fight scenes were, there weren't not many fight scenes. I mean, not a lot of, like, the crash, pam, bam, bow as they usually get in these superhero films.
No.
Just killing.
Yeah, well, I mean, there really is a feel in this movie, like it's got a little bit of that Dirty Dozen meets Tarantino kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that the Dirty Dozen was his inspiration, but it does have a Tarantino-like feel to it at times, without question, which is why I think some critics are just... It's funny, critically, it's doing really, really great. Critics are really loving this movie. And
it is well made.
Yes.
But my one problem is just the gratuitous violence, and I'm not a big fan of it. And it's off-putting for me, and I'm wincing a little bit. I'm like, why did they have to kill a dude like that? It's like,
It does go. I mean, I do think I agree with you. I think there are points where it's like, okay, you're just doing this to do it, and it's like, I mean, for some people it's cool, for some people it's funny. To me, I was just like, okay, enough. Yeah. You don't have to go this far. I mean, we got an R rating, so we're gonna do it.
Mm-hmm. Now they went all in with that shit.
Yeah, they really did.
So what else aside from the humor? And the story was okay. Of course, the Corto Maltese. If a lot of people got to die in one place in the world in the DC universe, they take it to Corto Maltese. I don't know if Vicky Vale was there to take pictures, but
I don't know about that.
The Corto Maltese was the shitter of the DC universe as far as the.
I thought it was Liberia. Well, whatchamacallit? Yeah, they're made up country in the Middle East, Liberia or whatever that is, or like Liberia. I can't remember the name of it. I thought that was their shithole of. I thought that was the. Oh,
was the throw? I don't know if that would have existed in DC Universe before the '89 Batman, because that was they give it all such a glow. I don't know if it's art, but I like it.
I thought it was interesting, just how many people they killed off in the first 5 minutes. Movie.
They were they were the diversion.
Yeah. And in fairness, that's totally a Waller move. I could see Waller doing it. If anything that comes off in this movie is you once again see just how much of an uncaring bitch Amanda Waller is.
Oh yeah, Amanda Waller is great in this. She's shit needs to get done, and these poor suckers are gonna pay the price.
This has got to be like a role that like Viola Davis looks at and is just like, yeah, anytime you want to let me play this role, you go right ahead and let me.
Yeah.
It's the kind of role that I think there are a lot of older women in older actresses would kill to play, and she's not going anywhere because she's been great as Amanda Waller. I mean, she's one of the people in this movie that is a carryover from the previous movie. Right. Is Viola Davis. The others are the guy who played Rick Flag, and then obviously Boomerang, but not for
Captain
long.
Boomerang. Yeah.
Captain Boomerang, but not for long, which was shocking. And a little surprising because it made me wonder, because that's a Flash villain, and I'm like, aren't you doing a Flash movie? But okay.
But it's a multiverse, so.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And then obviously Harley, so Harley, Rick Flag, Boomerang, and
Javelin and Weasel.
Well, no, I'm talking about people who came from the first movie.
Oh, okay, from the first movie.
People who were pulled over from the first movie are Harley, Rick Flag, Boomerang, and Waller. Okay. That's it. Those are the only ones that cross over from the 2016 movie to this movie.
Okay.
And Boomerang's gone in the first 5 minutes.
Yep.
Pretty much. Yeah, they pretty much take out the entire team with the exception of Flag and Harley in the first.
Yeah, and so the second team comes in, and of course Idris Elba was good in this as Bloodsport. So he's just like another like marksman kind of sharpshooter, or just like some trained fighter, or.
So the interesting part is that the only reason Will Smith is not in this movie as Deadshot is because Will Smith had a conflict in schedule. And if you're watching the movie carefully, you can kind of tell that this part was kind of sort of written for Will Smith.
For Deadshot.
It was kind of written for Deadshot. Mm. Bloodsport fits just as well.
Yeah.
Idris Elba is just as good.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, to me, I kind of laugh because I do think there'll be another Suicide Squad movie. And it's interesting to me because I do think that there's an opportunity that because of the way things went, that, I think Will Smith will be back. And I think you could have Idris Elba and Will Smith in the next one. So we'll see. I don't see a reason why that isn't a possibility. But again, Idris Elba is great, and he's very good at what he does. I guess the real question becomes, I guess, do you want to like look at the quote unquote the team at this point?
Well, let's see. Well, we had, of course, of course, Nathan Fillion as TDK, so he was in it for a minute too.
Right. I mean, wow, I didn't even realize.
I'm so glad that Pete Davidson died. I cannot stand that dude. I mean, he's not funny. When he's on SNL, he's just not funny. So I'm so glad he's died.
I don't mind Pete Davidson.
He took a bullet, took his face out. So hooray.
Yeah. Well, like I said, so Pete Davidson's gone. So who's left is obviously not including the fact that Harley and Rick Flag escape the first scenario that we're talking about, which is the diversionary side of it.
Right. They were the diversion where Team 2 was the hardcore ones.
Right. So we get Polka Dot Man.
Yeah, he was, it was a guy.
Yeah. I don't remember who's playing that. And then we have...
I've seen him in movies before where he plays the creepy, homicidal-looking weirdo.
We get Ratcatcher 2. Because, you know, we've already had a Ratcatcher 1. So, and by the way, Ratcatcher 1, not in the original Suicide Squad, but it is kind of amusing that we have a Ratcatcher 2. Yeah. And clearly an inside, you know, comic book joke about how sometimes you get the same character, but it's a new person being that character kind of thing. Mm. And then we start getting into some of the interesting names. Obviously, we said Idris Elba is playing Blood. Is it Bloodsport? It's Bloodsport.
Bloodsport,
right?
Yeah.
Bloodsport. And then we start to get into interesting stuff, like we get Stallone playing King Shark.
As the voice of King Shark, yes.
As the voice of King Shark. And John Cena as the Peacemaker.
Yes.
So to me, I'm a little underwhelmed by this team. I'm a little underwhelmed. By the way, and I'm sorry, and one of the people who died storming the beach, which doesn't make any sense at all to me, is they had a female version of Mongol.
Yeah, Mongol, and she died. Like, do you think she'd be kind of badass? But no, she should have
taken out like an entire battalion.
Yeah, but she jumped onto the freaking helicopter and she died horrible death, of course.
I mean, because they made basically a female well, maybe that's the reason they made it. I don't want to say that we got to be careful. I mean, it's just funny because it's like, supposedly she was supposed to be based off of Mongol, the Superman villain. And if that's the case, you either depowdered her or I don't know what you did, because
she burned to death.
I mean, she should have been able to take out like an entire battalion.
Yeah.
She's got that kind of power
their
level.
mission was to go to Cordo Maltese and go to this building called Jotunheim, which I'm still thinking about Thor.
Yep.
When they say that word. And take out this Project Starfish. And we all know what Project Starfish is. They've shown with the trailers and whatnot and promotional material.
I think it's too bad. I think that was really too bad that they gave it away. It would have been really something to not see it in the trailer. And I don't know who made that choice. And I guess they had to show us something.
Show the big monster that they're all fighting.
They had to show us something to give us an idea who the villain was. But
where some of the CG money went to.
I'm like, it would have been really a lot better to not have that reveal in the trailer.
So, while we're still into the heavy spoiler space before Ivan returns in a few minutes, how far into the movie did you know that the javelin's going to go into Starro's eye?
Pretty early.
Yeah.
Pretty early.
Yeah.
Pretty early on.
It's like, I kind of figured that shit out, like, you know, when by the time they're all outside, and then, you know, he unleashes the stars, and all the soldiers, you know, get the stars on them, and I was like, oh yeah, she's got the javelin. Oh yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
but then the reds go into the eye. Oh god, I was like,
And then, you know, it was really funny because we get the Thinker. And it's funny because
Peter Capaldi was a Doctor Who.
Right, we get the Thinker, who ironically...
He did fine. I liked him.
Yeah, but, you know, the Thinker gets played off as a goon, whereas we just had the Thinker on The Flash, and he was like the main villain for an entire season.
Yeah, and this guy was just kind of like, he hangs out, and how they capture him, like he hangs out at a strip club, and that's how they set him up to.
I did think the one thing where they basically take out the entire rebel group was hysterical. It's like, they're the rebels.
They were the freedom fighters.
Yeah, the freedom fighters.
And they all look at each other like, oh.
Oh, no, they weren't the only ones. I couldn't stop laughing at that moment because I'm like, oh, that's bad.
And it did have, to its merit, it did have some comedy. Yeah. And a tiny bit role as Taika Waititi as Ratcatcher 2's dad. I think it was I presume he is Ratcatcher 1.
I guess so.
Then there's this bond between Bloodsport and Ratcatcher 2. What's her name? I don't know her name. And that's like the heart of the film. Yep. Because Harley, there's no heart. I mean, when
not this time.
El Presidente tries to woo her, and that whole sequence was great. Because he's using romance and shit, and then she's all like, she just grabs him. Like, you're just so freaking hot, and just grabs him.
I did read that sequence where she does the escape with her feet to do the lock.
Uh-huh.
That there was no stunt double, that she legitimately did that.
Whoa. Where she used her toes, grabbed the lock, grabbed the key off the guy's outfit.
That James Gunn swears up and down that she did that all herself.
Wow.
There was no stunt double, no nothing. She did that whole sequence.
I can believe it.
I think, again, so here's, I guess, where I get frustrated, which is clearly the little rat for Ratcatcher 2 is, you're okay, let's have our little, here's another one of the little
animal companion.
Here's the little animal companion that we're going to sell a whole bunch of.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to make a series of action figures based on this group.
Yeah, I don't know about that. King Shark.
He played off as just a little too dumb.
It just doesn't.
I get it. It's for comedy, and that's what this is. It's like a dark comedy.
It wasn't funny at times. Yeah. And King Shark is smarter than that.
Yeah.
In a lot of other things. I just feel like they made him a little too dumb. And in terms of that, and the sad part is, I like King Shark as a character. I thought it would be, they didn't make him Groot enough. They tried to make him Groot, and yet it didn't work. And so, or at least the direction they went with it. And I don't know. I don't blame Stallone for it. Just didn't.
No, he did fine as the voice, and sure, James Gunn was awesome to, had to give him a chance to.
Yeah.
As a voice,
Right.
That was another part of it. Is like, King Shark, we get it, and he can't. Disguise, mustache. I'm like, oh, come on, Jesus.
Yeah, there were a few things where
to roll my eyes a couple things there and that.
Well, and then there's other points where it's like, okay,
before we get into more of the bad, I just want to make the point of one more thing: the good, the soundtrack. James Gunn knows his music, man, and there's some great tunes in this soundtrack.
Yeah, and again, I want to be clear. We're kind of nitpicking here.
Yeah.
But the reason we're nitpicking is because we'll get to that in a second. But so we get to finally to this Jotunheim, and obviously Starro is there. And Mike, how much do you know about Starro?
Just whatever bits and pieces I've seen in fiction. I think he was in one episode of Batman Beyond or something like that, or Justice League or something like that. He was in the animated form.
That's right. He is in Batman Beyond that one episode. So Starro
the Conqueror.
Starro the Conqueror is an old school Justice League villain, and where I feel like. And it was funny, I was talking to John Sundress, the Word Balloon podcast on Saturday. Oh, that's what I did. Saturday I was out with John, and so we were having interesting conversations about a couple things, too.
About this, I'm sure.
Well, that, too.
Yeah.
And this is where John and I had difference of opinion. John's like, what you're talking about, it's going to be too hard for audiences. But as you've seen, if you remember correctly from those cartoons, Starro has those little starfishes. And they don't necessarily have to go on your face. They can go on your stomach. They can go in different places. Yeah. I would have liked to have seen it instead of there being a coup. I would like the coup to have been because Starro got some of those starfishes out there, and he's starting to take over Coral Maltese.
Right, the government, right. But no one's going to trust a dude with the big star on their face, you know?
Well, the point being is that you don't have it where it's on their face. You
right,
have it
it's
on
in their
body.
clothing, it's concealed, right.
Where it could be concealed. But I get it. That might be more, that might take more, and maybe it was a different direction. I thought, again, this is, me being from a comic book perspective.
Yeah.
Look, I loved having Starro. I think it's great. I'm glad we had it. We had Starro as a character. He definitely deserves his time. At the same time, it's like I would have liked it to look a little bit more comic booky.
Yeah.
The realistic looking eye didn't work for me either.
Mm. And I think all those CGI, I think all those eyes on all those people, a lot of those are CG. Because not just like animatronic of that eyeball moving as people, when it was on their people's heads.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I mean, even on the big guy.
Yeah, the big one. The kaiju. We're going to kaiju in this shit. Yeah.
So, that gets us to the...
and of course the major thing, the plot twist, if you will, was that they weren't sent in to take out Starro. They were sent in to take out the information showing the United States' culpability in this whole situation.
Right, which comes to the interesting parts here, which is...
where the conflict between Peacemaker and Flag.
Yep, and so we lose Rick Flag, who... I'm not going to sit there and say Rick Flag is a major DC character.
No.
But he's enough of a mainstay in the DC universe that's an interesting choice of who to get killed off, is Rick Flag. And so... Because again, Rick Flag's a good guy, and he works for them. And in the comics, he's pretty well respected amongst the heroes, if you know what I mean. Even though he works with Suicide Squad, so it's an interesting choice there. The other thing that's interesting is that when Waller's going to kill them all for trying to stop Starro, and her command staff
rebelled. They give her a putting iron to the head.
Right, which begs the question to me. If she's willing to kill them for that, why are any of those people still alive when it's over?
Right.
Why are they alive? How could they all be alive? They have to be dead. I mean, seriously.
The blatant insubordination.
Right, because of blatant insubordination. I don't understand how they're alive.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll get to more of that in a minute. But the other thing that I have a problem with, and it's funny, John pointed it out to me, and you haven't seen the first movie, but once again, here's a villain that is a big-time villain, okay? Or a high-level villain in terms of power level.
As far as threatening
or threat level.
Yeah.
And now let's look at the team that you've put them up, the team that's going up against it. And I'm like, looking at it going, they should never win. They should never win. I mean,
yeah, it's too bad we don't have another league of superheroes they could have called upon.
Well, that was John's point. This is what you call the Justice League.
Yeah.
Or something like this. And by the way, this is, because you haven't seen the first one, similar problem in the first one, which is you have a high power level villain.
Yep.
And the power set of the people you have left to fight the high level power set villain doesn't match who the villain is. You've got a bunch of gun buddies, and it's like, hey, that's not going to work. Okay, Killer Shark is great, but he's not strong enough to basically make that much of a difference. I thought the interesting part was the one person who I thought maybe it was that we might see something interesting from might be Polka Dot Man, because maybe he could open up an entire different dimension, and maybe that's where we were going to go with this.
Because we kind of, earlier on, we kind of knew that he had some extraordinary abilities.
But never ends up really truly using them.
No, but he did, well, of course, the way he went out was like, yeah, sure.
Right, well, and again, so this becomes the problem I have. The problem I have is, so basically in the end, Starro gets taken out by Ratcatcher 2. Fuck you. No way.
Well, after he gets a javelin in the eye, then the rats crawl into the eyeball and eat away at all his guts.
So, and here's the irony. Literally the exact same thing. Literally, Harley does almost the exact same fucking thing in the first movie.
Really?
Practically.
Wow.
Does almost again, it's Harley with the death blow. On a character that you're on a villain, and you're like, that should never fucking happen. That should never freaking happen. And again, it's like Starro getting overwhelmed by all the rats. Really? Really? And
he get one of his star fins taken out by the polka dot guy.
Right. I thought that's where they were going, was basically he would open up some sort of wormhole.
He would have made the ultimate sacrifice and
or some crazy
and he would have
thing
died
like that.
Saving the world.
Or some shit like that. But to have it where basically Ratcatcher 2 swarms him with rats.
Yeah.
And then because Harley opens up his eyeball and so they can get inside.
And they
it's like, this is ridiculous. Again, that's my problem. My problem is pick a threat level villain that makes sense for the villain, for the quote unquote hero group that you're having. I mean, it just doesn't, and the funny part is you knocked out, I mean, maybe if you had let some of the other characters from the beach in the first scene survive a little bit more. But even then, I'm like looking at the power levels for those characters, and I'm like, none of these characters, even if you had an army of them, should be able to stand up to Starro. And that's the biggest problem I have, Mike, is I'm literally like, okay, I don't get it. I don't see how they. I don't see how they win.
But the resolution was just the arc of Bloodsport. I mean, in the beginning of the film, we has a visitation with his daughter, and he's obviously, not a good father figure, and she's there anyway because she's got a court date, and so that's why Waller's got him by the short hairs. But he proved himself a leader, and I guess that's how you justify Bloodsport's presence there as the leader. He kind of led the charge against Starro with all these no-names. That's why they were able to take him down, to inspire them to do good, I guess. But, it was...
And by the way, so this is the second time that that news teams are aware of some weird,
super crazy, super metahumans.
Metahuman team that seems to be villains that save the world. Now, no offense. It happens once, okay, you chalk it up. Now it's happened again. You can't tell me that there isn't somebody investigating what the fuck is this. So we'll see if that gets played with at all.
Overall, initially I was like, I was fine. I liked it for the comedy, but I gave it 3.5 out of 5 EMNs. But right now, after stewing it over a full day, I think I gotta take it down to 3.
I'll go 3.5.
Yeah, you're 3.5. I'm 3 out of 5.
I'll take it to 3.5. Obviously, an interesting part is Weasel's still alive at the end.
Yeah, the post-credit scenes. And who else is alive? The guy who's getting his own series.
Yeah, Peacemaker, which is interesting because the theory was that John Cena's character got killed off. And
I was like, wait a minute. When they had the fight, and then Bloodsport and him, they literally shoot bullets at each other, and one bullet goes through the other, which is like kind of another Tarantino kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the smaller
and a wanted
bullets.
thing too, and a wanted kind of thing too at the same time.
So I was like, wait a minute. Then John Cena dies. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought he was getting his own show. Of course, the post-credit scene.
We all thought it would be a prequel. We all really did think it was going to be like a prequel thing.
Oh, okay.
But apparently it's not going to be.
Nope.
And again, there's the two of the people who led the
from
insurrection
that
against Waller.
Right.
And they're still alive. And it's like,
I guess we're going to save the fucking world, I guess, or something like that, she says.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
like I said, and that's the part I don't get. How are those two alive?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is our punishment. No, your punishment should be you're not alive.
Yeah, because you took a putting iron to Amanda Waller, and she could probably have you disappear. No one would know.
Well, that's my point. That's what I don't get.
Right.
And that's the problem I have with it. I give it 3.5. And here's the part you're going to find amusing.
Is Ivan still in the room? Do we need to unmute him?
I don't know.
Can he unmute himself?
I have no idea. Ivan, do you know how to unmute yourself or not? Let's see if he can.
If he's listening or he's still having dinner?
I don't think I can unmute him. I did mute him, but I don't know if I can unmute him. I think he knows how to unmute. Anyway.
Yeah, it should be on his control board. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. So here's the interesting part. In spite of all the conversation we've had about this movie, this is the part you're going to laugh at, Mike. Ask me where it sits amongst DC Extended Universe, or basically DC movies since the Bale movies. Ask me where it sits.
Probably towards the bottom. No?
No, I put it number 2 behind Wonder Woman.
Really?
Huh,
okay.
I put it number 2 behind Wonder Woman.
Well, yeah, okay. That's fine.
The others, I mean, if I'm really stacking these movies up, Wonder Woman is number 1 without question. And then, all right, let's look at the other DC Extended Universe movies. Okay, Justice League, enough said. Not going to even get into it. And we're not talking about the extended cut. We're talking about Justice League.
The films.
Okay. All right.
Higher than Man of Steel? Come on.
Yeah.
I like Man of Steel.
I put it higher than Man of Steel.
No. This is not higher than Man of Steel for me.
I disagree. I disagree. It's certainly higher than Batman versus Superman. It's certainly higher. It's certainly... I don't think I could put Aquaman
higher than Aquaman?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got bored on Aquaman. I really did.
My man.
I mean, I liked it, but I got bored. I mean, I can't put Shazam in front of it.
Shazam was fine. I didn't hate Shazam.
Yeah, I know, but if I'm ranking them.
Yeah, if you're, I see. I hadn't even thought about that yet.
I mean, if I'm ranking them,
because this is kind of like,
if I would rank them if I would rank them like I would rank MCU movies. If I rank them like MCU movies, I personally put this Suicide Squad movie at like number 2.
Okay.
That's where I put it.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, that's just me.
Yeah. Now I'd have to think about that. I'll get back to you next week about that. I'd have to think about how I want to rank this among the DCEU films.
Right, and obviously we're not talking about the Bale movies.
No, it's everything post Dark Knight Rises.
And I'm sure for some people they're like, okay, well then you got to talk about the Snyder Cut, and you and I have differences of opinion with everybody else on the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut can go wipe my ass too. But we've had that conversation.
Yes, we have.
We have, and I'm going to leave it there. So yeah. I mean, I'll give it 3.5 in spite of the fact that there was a lot that needed to be there was a lot to be desired.
No, that's too bad.
Although I will tell you, I put it as number 2 just because I think it's a solid put together movie.
Yeah, it was well made. Like I said, James Gunn knows how to make a film, and he did make an entertaining film. I just I had disagreements about the violence mostly. That was the one off-putting thing about me, is that it's not my bag.
Here's the problem I'm having. Now that I said that this is number 2. The problem is that here comes the other big bold statement, and it was funny. I told this to Suntress, and he about almost disowned me when I said it, which was I think the original Suicide Squad was better.
See, I still
right. And you've never seen.
I can't make a judgment based on that. I still haven't watched it.
You've never seen it, but it was funny. Suntress looked at me and he was like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, I kind of liked it better. Okay. At least it moved a lot faster. I wasn't bored in sections like I was." And
no, I wasn't bored by this film.
Oh, I was. There were a couple places I got a little bit like, "Come on, let's get to it."
I had a couple of scenes where I rolled my eyes a little bit. But I wasn't looking at my watch.
Yeah, I kind of laughed. So I guess we can kind of get into the talk of this movie now, which is...
So what's the internet reaction to this film?
Yeah, so it's interesting because critically it's done really, really well, but the numbers are not good.
Yeah, the box office numbers, maybe with the rising Delta strain or whatever.
Right, and so let's talk about that for a second, which is so there's that. The first part is the Delta thing. Without question. I think that definitely hampered numbers so that they didn't hit the kind of numbers that they thought they would hit. I heard similar whining and complaining about the last one. But in the end, they did well enough and they profited well enough for it to work out. And so I think in the end they'll do okay. And the other reason I think they're going to do okay is, here's the other thing I've noticed, Mike, which is what we're getting a lot of is everything is about the box office numbers.
Especially opening weekend.
Right. Well, everybody's looking at the box office numbers about theaters.
I had a coworker who went and saw it over the weekend. It was yesterday, I think. He said there were literally 10 people in the theater.
I understand.
On a Sunday.
Yeah. But the point being is there's definitely a slant about these movie releases, specifically the ones that are coming from like DC, from like Warner Brothers and Disney, and the tack they're taking towards them. And why? Because those two companies are also doing streaming at the same time because of the pandemic. And this brings me to what you had problems with and I had problems with. Okay, if you and I are both having problems getting it to start and stream.
Yeah, and another friend of mine said the same thing too. Our friend Chef Bill.
Right.
Right.
So you know what that means.
Yeah.
That means that the traffic on HBO Max for this movie had to be through the roof.
Yeah.
Had to be through the roof. Because I didn't even have this much trouble with Wonder Woman.
No, okay? I just on when Wonder Woman 84 came out on Christmas Day, we had just a little bit of problem. Just had one little hiccup in streaming. That was it.
Right. So to me, what this says to me is that the traffic on HBO Max right now for Suicide Squad over the weekend was
exceeded their expectations.
Was huge.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen numbers on that, and obviously we don't know for sure what those numbers look like. But again, I'm saying this because I get what people are saying about it. And yeah, the movie was, I think, $185 million budget. Times are different now. And I know there's certain people bemoaning about box office and will we ever go back to this and all this stuff. And the answer is we may not. We may not go back to the way things were before the pandemic.
Not for a while.
But the other thing is with this pandemic, you can't, people are saying they're going, oh, well, the numbers are skewed because they have it streaming. Well, you know what? Guess what? Warner Brothers doesn't care. Warner Brothers is okay with that because if they had more people pick up HBO Max and their numbers are through the roof on HBO Max, which they are, the growth on HBO Max from what they've done has been huge. Absolutely huge. And they took a calculated risk, and God bless them. I think it's working out on their behalf because I don't know if they're challenging Netflix, but they're certainly challenging Disney Plus, and they're certainly challenging Amazon in terms of where they are in the streaming world.
Mm-hmm. They're a contender.
And they're a contender. They're beyond a contender.
Could have been a
contender.
contender.
They're in the fight, and they realized that they didn't have the programming yet because they were still picking up the programming, and the pandemic hurt that too. So they took a calculated risk, and yeah, they're losing money on this in some ways, but they're winning with audiences. They're winning with audiences because people are coming in and watching those movies for once a month, and when they come out, especially like these, and it's working out in their favor. It really is. And I guess I'm just tired of reading these reports about, see what this is doing to the box office? Hey, how about live in today's world where it's a pandemic and there's a Delta variant?
Well, the fact that the box office is still underwhelming by their standards, even Black Widow had a really good opening weekend, and then it really dropped off the map because people aren't going back to theater to see it 2, 3, 4, 5 times like they were 3 years ago.
Well, and there may be and some of that may be because of what's going on and other things, but again, and some of it may be. Some of it may be, hey, you know what? I can get it for $30, and so be it.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. I mean, it just frustrates me because it's like right away people are saying, well, this is, Suicide Squad's a losing proposition. Well, no, not really. I certainly think there'll be a third movie without question. I think there will. I think that won't be a problem. I think
the thing is, will Warner Brothers get a return on their investment immediately? That's what they're between the promotion and the cost to make this film.
Right. Well, I think, but at the same time, Mike, you're going to have to temper that at the moment with everything that's going on. And again, it really depends on. Again, the problem becomes we don't know what those HBO Max numbers look like. If those HBO Max numbers are what we think they are, they're what do we think they are because of the fact that you had trouble streaming it and I had trouble streaming it, we're not alone. We heard other people having trouble with it.
Yep.
Then that becomes the problem, and not my problem. That becomes a sign that tells me that their traffic there. Here's the thing. Here's where we'll find out if they're going to make their money back. If we see all kinds of new Harley merchandise out there and new Harley costumes during Halloween, if there's no problem, that's how we'll know. If we're going to see new fan art of Harley and all her new little outfits, then we'll know.
Because I know the Birds of Prey film when it came out in February last year, right when all this shit happened. And then they had to change the name of the film, and it was turned into a PR nightmare, and because the title. But I don't know. But it was fine. But I don't think I would have.
But here's the thing. Again, the interesting part is we saw even though that didn't do great, we saw a lot of people doing a lot of Harley cosplay that looked like the movies. That looked like the movie. And there was a lot of stuff out there for consumption that looked like the movie that people bought. So, I mean, I think that's the other thing is when this Harley Quinn buzz starts to die down, we'll see. But in the meantime, it hasn't died down. I don't know. And right now, well, like I said, we'll see. I'm curious to see, I don't remember what the next DC extended universe movie is. Is it the second Shazam movie?
I think they're making Black Adam. I think is the next one.
Oh wait, no, but I'm sorry, I forgot the Pattinson.
Yeah, and the Pattinson Batman, the sparkly vampire Batman. That's next year.
Oh, is it next year?
They pushed that to October next year.
Okay.
They started filming, and then the pandemic hit, and then I think some crew members caught the Rona, so then they had to stop production, and then they're just in the middle of reworks and rewrites. We got a teaser trailer some months back, but it's not coming out this year.
Okay. Well, then
we
know The Rock is filming Black Adam.
I think they're done.
Okay.
I think they're done. I can't remember if Shazam 2 is done, or if they filmed, or if they are filming. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up, and don't have answers for that.
Yeah.
So how was dinner, Ivan?
Well, dinner was great.
Excellent.
I had chicken breast, and gravy with stuffing and rice.
Stovetop stuffing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, cornbread stuffing?
Cornbread stuffing, yeah.
Okay, good. Just a second.
All right.
I
love that cornbread.
All right.
I love cornbread.
Me too.
So I'm trying to think in terms of other stuff. I guess the biggest thing is we got a big week coming up, Mike.
Yeah, we got stuff coming up this week.
Yeah, that's
more fun, geeky stuff. Yay!
Yeah,
all right.
No, there's some. So by the time this airs, Stargirl will have happened probably.
Season 2 is starting.
Yeah,
Shit,
on Tuesday night. Yeah, you forget it. Just admit you're not going to watch it.
Well, it's on HBO Max, right?
Yep.
Okay. I gotta finish that season.
I believe it's on HBO Max. If not, it's on Netflix.
It's not on because the CW doesn't have an app anymore. Does it?
Does it? I have no idea.
I think the episodes you got to pay for the episodes on Comcast. I think
it's either on one of two things. It's either on HBO Max or it's on Netflix.
I can check right now. Jesus Christ!
I think it's HBO Max, like you said.
I can double check this, but I'm looking forward to Titans, and I might even go in for a month of Paramount Plus to start watching Lower Decks in season 2.
Well, and you skipped one.
Yeah.
Which is Wednesday is What If.
Oh yeah, What If starts Wednesday. Oh yeah.
Wednesday is starts What If. So like I said, it's a big week in terms of what we get, and we're getting this week. So, and I forgot about Lower Decks. Yeah, Lower Decks is there, but I'm still not doing it.
I'm doing it. I liked it. It was entertaining for me.
Oh,
and we got a teaser for season 3 of Doom Patrol, which neither of us are watching. So.
I need to get to that. That's been something I've been meaning to watch. I just have not gotten around to it. I did not watch season 1 or season 2. I do need to get around to watching that at some point, but I don't think it'll happen before I watch season 3 of Titans, and obviously What If gets priority as well too. So to me, those will probably be and obviously Stargirl because I'll get that easy. Yeah,
Stargirl is season 1 of Stargirl is on HBO Max.
Okay.
So what if I didn't see. So I'm missing. I'm only the 2-part finale. So I'll finish that up. I'll get caught up on that.
Yep.
Because I did see episode 11. No, I did see. No, so I'm either 2 or 3 episodes. So I can.
Ivan, what's the over/under on? I'll be hearing from Mike next week that I still have to catch up.
What now?
No, I'm gonna watch it. I'm watching it.
I love when I said Ivan. He's like, "What now?"
What? Who?
Huh? What? Why?
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah, there's some good stuff coming. So.
I mean, dude, if it's been a year and you haven't watched it, I don't expect you to watch it anytime soon.
Well, that settles it. I'm going to watch it tonight.
Yeah. He's been waiting like a year to watch like the last episode. He's like, I'm going to get to it.
Yes, yeah. You know what? Now I'm going to watch it. Now just to spite you, I'm going to watch it.
I'm sure. Yeah. And you know what he's going to say to me next week? I forgot to watch it.
Oh my God.
He's like 8 or 9 episodes behind on like.
I'm
Superman
3 episodes. I just got the 3 part,
well,
last part of season 1.
Behind on Superman and Lois, like a bunch. Right?
I lost interest. That one I fell off. That one I'm like.
Well, I told you. Once you get past the first half of the season, it gets better.
I've seen some clips when I'm going scrolling through YouTube, but.
I'm telling you, it gets better. They
Okay.
stopped doing a lot with the emo shit with the kids, and then it starts to get better.
Frodo Baggins as his son.
Yeah. Suddenly, it's like somewhere along the line, it's like, oh shit, we need to like get to the plot. And
we get to like the title, the character of this show.
Yeah. At some point, we need to talk. We need to do like Superman shit. You know? Oh yeah. Whoops. You know. Stop trying to be fucking Dawson's Creek.
Right.
One Tree Hill.
Bad version of One Tree Hill.
Huh?
One Tree Smallville.
Yeah, One Tree Smallville. We already done that show earlier with Tom Welling. Come on, all right. Let's go. God. And the funny part is I'm not against having that CWism, like with the school and all that stuff. It's like, okay, you got to figure out how to balance this thing, because otherwise some of us are going to be bored to tears. And they just didn't balance it. And it's funny because that part of the story has like disappeared. It's like, oh, by the way, they should be still in school. Everything should be happening in school. But, hey, guess what? We're totally going to throw that aside.
Kind of like an afterthought.
Well, it's weird. It's like they establish all this stuff and then they really don't play with it that much later. So, well, whatever. I mean, I'm not complaining because after a while, I was like, I am so tired of Emo Jordan. If I hear if I see one more thing with him, I'm going to fucking
No one
scream.
understands me.
No one understands.
I'll slap you.
I'm going to super slap the bitch.
Mm-hmm. Boot to the head.
I didn't ask for these powers. Why do I have to learn? Shut up.
Let me be the Superman.
Why is it so hard? I didn't expect it to be hard. Why is all this happening? I didn't ask for all these things. I'm just a teenager.
All I want is a girlfriend.
Yeah. But I'll use
what is that big elephant over there?
But I'll use it to play football and beat the shit out of bigger people because now I have powers.
Somebody put him aside and give him the Ben Parker speech, please.
They did, and he still wanted to play football.
And he still wanted to play football.
No, for once they let him play. It's like, they're like, you can't do this. They're like, all right, fine, I'll let him play football. And he's like this, like, he's playing football. And it's hysterical, because it's like, he's like their secret weapon. I'm like, gee, I wonder why.
Now he can kick the football out of the stadium.
Spider ball.
Right.
I don't know, spider ball.
Spider ball, spider ball.
I got your spider balls right here.
right next to the screw hole fillers.
Yeah. Yeah. MJ's got them right next to the screw hole filler. That's
spider balls.
Gwen Stacy's got them too.
Oh yeah. So well, we lost Markie Post over the weekend. And that's a major bummer. She was obviously most known for her role in Night Court, and also for 3 seasons of The Fall Guy.
Was she on that? Was she on T.J. Hooker too?
No, that's Heather Locklear.
No, not that. I thought she was.
She might have had some bit. She did a lot of bit roles in 80s television.
Mm-hmm.
T.J. Hooker.
And she was Mary's mom in Something About Mary.
Was she? Okay. Was she Stacy's mom when she?
No,
had
she
it
wasn't
going
Stacy's
on?
mom. She didn't have it going on.
That's Rachel Hunter. My bad.
But yeah, she died at age 70 from cancer. So very sad.
Aww.
Yeah.
Remember her being a cutie.
Yeah, she was kind of hot in Night Court.
Yep.
Kind of that.
It's the only one who's left now, like John Marquette. Is that the only member of that?
I think so. No,
group?
Richard Mall is still alive, isn't he?
No, I do not. Well,
no, I don't think he's alive anymore.
I'm not
we can
sure.
find this shit up.
I don't think so.
He said he's not dead yet. He said
he's not dead yet?
Bring out your dead.
Nope, he's still alive.
Okay.
Wow.
He's 78.
He hasn't done anything in years.
He just looks dead.
Richard Mall is 6'8".
Yep.
Shit, that's a tall dude.
Yeah.
He did a lot of animation. He did voicing.
Yeah.
I can't remember what though. I can't remember. He did a lot of DC animated though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything.
Wasn't he in Osmosis Joe?
Osmosis Jones?
Yeah.
No, that was the guy who played Niles on Frasier.
Yeah.
He was the foil for
and Chris Rock.
Yeah, Chris Rock. Yeah.
And Chris Rock. Chris Rock and.
All right.
That that movie. There's parts of me where I like that movie, and there's parts of me where I'm like, this movie is utterly worthless and disgusting. But
you're still compelled to watch it. Just had some great visuals and an interesting story, take.
Because the animation.
And Bill Murray as being Bill Murray.
No. That one scene where the zit pops on Molly, what's her name? It's disgusting.
It's pretty bad.
That thing is disgusting as hell.
But it had an interesting animation style.
And what's his name? What's his name is his friend is in it who I can't stand. And no matter how many times I want to watch that, I can't remember his name. He's in a bunch of stuff, and everybody likes him, and I can't fucking stand that guy. God, that's gonna kill me. I can't remember the guy's name.
That movie's from 2001. It's from
Who's the butt?
From the Farrelly brothers.
Who's the cat? Who's the other guy's name?
Who? What other guy?
The friend in that movie. If you're looking it up.
I don't see it on IMDb. I see Chris Elliott.
That's the guy.
He was Frank's brother
that guy.
and Shane's uncle.
Yeah, I can't stand that guy.
Okay.
I can't stand that guy. I think that guy is the most overrated of all time.
Chris Elliott?
Mm-hmm. Although he does have the movie that has the great David Letterman cameo of movies, which is Would You Like to Touch My Monkey? which they made a whole thing of when David Letterman did the Oscars, where he had a whole bunch of people like do that as a tryout instead of him, including like what's his name, Michael Buffer. Monkey. It was funnier when I saw it.
Well, do we have any other news?
I don't know. I mean, there's a story out there from Screen Rant about what they're paying Marvel writers for whose stuff gets used in the MCU. And they claim they have 3 sources on this, but I'm just not sure I buy it. Where they're claiming that like these writers are getting like,
where these comic writers are getting credit for the creation of these, right? Remember,
right,
like
but they're getting. I mean, like in terms of payment, they're claiming like some of these people only get paid like $5,000.
Yeah, for a $500 million franchise that's in the theaters. Yeah, it don't seem right. Remember, like, when the first Guardians came out, and the guy who created Rocket had serious medical issues, and he was bedridden, and they put up a GoFundMe or something for this poor guy. I don't know if he's still alive or not, but yeah, he died pretty much, But it's Marvel's property, so they had the gumption. They ran with it and created this huge franchise out of the MCU, and then the guy who created Rocket, he's, not sitting pretty well as far as money-wise.
But there's always been those stories out there about, and I want to be clear, on both sides, DC and Marvel.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the very people that created Superman, that whole story, Superman became the property of the publisher for only $500. Mm-hmm. And they worked with the magazine as illustrators and whatever it is that they did, the designs of the of the strip and everything for many, many years afterward. And until, I don't know, I think it was Schuster that had sight problems. He was going blind, I think was the situation. But then it wasn't up until Warner Brothers toward the very end of their lives finally said, hey, we owe these cats something.
Yeah, don't kid yourself too, because the Schuster family took Warner Brothers to court.
Yeah, and they had a whole lot of litigation over
and there's some things that they've done on purpose to make sure that they don't get paid nearly what they should get paid.
Yeah.
And
I can't remember all the details about how that works.
Yeah.
I read about it, in a book that I had gotten, and it was just, it outlined the whole situation, why, Superman, had the name, and why they used S, and it was because of their last names were started with S and all that whole thing.
No, it's a symbol for hope, Ivan.
Oh, yeah, but if you read the story that I read, actually...
I'm kidding, Ivan.
Yeah, well, no, it is a symbol of hope, but it's also the last name of the writer,
yes, I know.
and illustrators. It was...
So, you okay, Ivan?
Well, I'm fine. I just had to sit here, sit between my little station and my cat. What do you say there, Marley? All right.
So anything else, Jeff,
today.
before we can head out?
I've been sounding very old man. Oh, boy, my back, my foot.
Well, I could always do a short commercial for Lemon Tang, which is the flavor tonight. So I. Weed review for Mocha.
For that. I do. It's funny. I saw this one meme out there about whether Darth Vader can give long distance hand jobs.
I suppose he could.
Yeah.
Strong with the Force is he.
Mm-hmm.
Lord Vader, our ship is full of light speed and we're prepared to.
I would be worried about exactly if he closes down a little too hard. That's right.
Close the blast doors.
Oh, sweet goodness. So nothing on the nothing on the horizon for me. I'm still going after the apartment and still just gives me ripping and running. And then later on this week, I think Thursday, I'll be meeting up with Marty again to add more to the collection. To that she's only bringing it like so many at a time. Because it's a pretty big collection, but it's definitely going to prove an asset to not only his memory, but to the archive, right now. So it's definitely, it's a beautiful thing,
You spinning this week? You're not going to spin this week?
No, I'm not spinning anywhere this week unless I decide I want to just kind of pop up on my own just for fun and everything. Because things at Spinning Wheel, just seem to be really out there. So I had to step away.
The drama is high at the Spinning Wheel.
And I'm just like, no, I have the Saturday performance, and then that'll be it for a while because it's, now, I'm trying to hang in there, but it's just becoming a little too much.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the happy place right now. So, and I should be concentrating on other things anyway. So that being said, I wish it well. I hope it everything they work out their foibles.
Yeah,
that's all I can say about it. That's all I can do. And we'll see what happens.
Well,
but in the meantime,
you want to talk about happy places? If you're on Twitter, you can follow us at SOTRT Podcast, but you also need to follow the Iron Sheik.
Iron Sheik.
Before we get to Iron Sheik, I do have a couple of amusing stories. Some of these we haven't done any news of the square in a bit, so this is a little bit older, but I thought it was funny, which is foul-mouthed parrots separated after beaking off at zoo visitors. This is from last fall. A posse of potty-mouthed parrots had to be relocated at a British zoo because of their propensity for cursing. The spraying got so bad, employees at the Lincolnshire Wildlife Center had to take the extreme measure to separate 5 African gray parrots to silence them. According to the Associated Press, Billy, Eric, Tyson, Jade, and Elsie were welcomed to the park in August 2020, but were removed from each other's presences after the keepers discovered they were encouraging each other to curse and rally in expletive-filled rants together. According to the zoo's chief executive, Steve Nichols, we were quite used to parrots swearing, but never had 5 at the same time.
Oh my God.
Most of the parrots clam up outside, but for some reason these 5 relish it. Visitors overhearing the colorful language laugh it off, and the unruly behavior got to a point where the zoo had no other recourse. It sounds like they didn't have the patrons didn't have a problem. But it's funny. Here's the quote.
I think that would be cool, though. Wouldn't you think that would be cool? But, that's not fit for the kids, but I know the adults would get a big kick out of it.
Well, according to Nichols, his comments quite amusing, which is, When a parrot tells you to fuck off, it amuses people very highly. It brought a smile to a really hard year. They're basically, so parrots were spread out to different areas in the zoo, designed to not set each other off.
Gotta keep them separated.
Yeah, so there's that. And then this from the Daily Mail. I think this is an older story, but we've never talked about this. Although this is from 2020 last year. Mom, whose ex-boyfriend's prank left her inundated with bizarre calls from people pretending to be Chewbacca, has the last laugh.
Okay.
A mother of three whose bitter ex-boyfriend gave out her phone number as part of a Chewbacca roar contest prank has had the last laugh on her A Carneswoman, Jessica, 29, has been inundated with Chewbacca impressions on her voicemail for weeks after she broke up with her boyfriend. Quote, I'm getting phone calls at really strange hours of the night, about 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning. I just thought it was really funny, actually. I thought it was quite a good joke. She ended her 3-year relationship with her when she logged onto her ex's Facebook account to find messages he sent to other women. But her ex decided to get back at her by plastering her mobile number around the city, challenging people to phone up and do their best Star Wars character Chewbacca impersonation.
Oh my God! Oh, that's so bad.
The poster for
funny but bad.
The poster for a Chewbacca roar contest included the mother of three Jessica's mobile phone number. It was plastered on posters around town, and the mother has been receiving Star Wars impressions for the last 2 weeks. The advertisement promises a $100 prize for the best impersonation of the Wookiee.
Oh my God! Oh, insult to injury.
After the breakup, Jessica's toxic boyfriend also dumped a car in her driveway and removed the wheels so she cannot move it. The police got in contact with me, and finally they're going to do something about it. She thought the prank was quite funny, but encouraged people to take down the posters if they see them, so she would not get any calls any longer. Jessica is now able to see the light side of the prank. She previously said
the light side of the prank. Yeah, I see what they did there.
Okay, you see what you did there. All right.
She previously said distressed both her and her 3 children. Someone called to say they thought it might have been done. They might have been done as a joke because they watched a man pick up the poster. I'm looking for where she's getting the last laugh. But anyway, so like I said, so basically, the long and short of it is, yeah. So that was the other amusing thing that I thought would be amusing before we got to
I'd say you'll enter Ivan, but is that 100 in like Imperial or Republic credits?
Oh God.
Oh, here we go.
And then Mike put something up about, so Nathan Fillion, they're trying to make a park?
Yes. The people of Edmonton want to dedicate a part of the park to Nathan Fillion by naming it the Nathan Fillion Civilian Pavilion.
Nice. There you go.
Say that 3 times quick.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a broadcaster's nightmare.
Thanks to the internet, yes, it will probably happen.
The only other thing was interesting, and I found this off of Twitter. So someone tweeted Neil Gaiman, Mr. Gaiman, you're kick-ass. I was just wondering, what do you think the best way is to seduce a writer? I figured your answer would be pretty spectacular.
Okay.
Here's Neil Gaiman's response.
Oh boy, here it comes.
In my experience, writers tend to be really good at the inside of their own heads and imaginary people, and a lot less good at stuff going on outside, which means that quite often, if you flirt with us, we're completely failed to notice, leaving everyone involved slightly uncomfortable and more than slightly unlaid.
Okay.
So this is what he suggests, that any attempted seduction of a writer would probably go a great deal easier for all parties if you sent them a cheerful note saying, and this is in big bold caps, you are invited to a seduction.
All right.
Please come, and there's a colon, and it says, please come to dinner on Friday night. Wear the kind of clothes you would like to be seduced in. End quote. He then says, and alcohol may help too, or kissing. Many writers figure out they're being seduced or flirted with when someone is actually kissing them. Ladies and gentlemen, Neil Gaiman on how to seduce a writer.
Kick ass.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So, what do we have for a quote for Iron Sheik?
Yes, if you're
Iron Sheik quote.
No, we are on Twitter at SOTRT Podcast, but if you're on Twitter, you need to follow _Iron Sheik on Twitter as well, because for these nuggets of knowledge and joy, such as
this one,
manually or automatically, go fuck yourself. He's not a big fan of Jiffy Pop. No, I guess.
Oh, he had a problem with Jiffy Pop recently, I think.
Yeah, Jiffy Pop, Bubba, you are the real Orville Redbacher or whatever the fuck your name is. You will always be a no-good popcorn match, son of a bitch. You can take a fucking walk, jabroni. So that's the Iron Sheik on Twitter. Other nuggets of knowledge and wisdom include somebody to get me the cold ice beer, otherwise take a fucking walk. It is my general observation that everyone is a fucking jabroni.
He apparently doesn't know who the fuck Grimace is, though.
Yes, there's a picture where he says, he puts a caption in where he's all like, somebody explain this to me or something, and it's a picture of Grimace by the McDonald's street sign.
So apparently he has no idea.
Someone explain to me what the fuck this is, and it's Grimace by the McDonald's sign, and it's pointing towards thank you. It's like the exit sign by the street where the McDonald's is.
Dusty Roads.
Dusty Road.
Dusty Wood.
Not Dusty Wood.
No, Dusty Wood was last week, or was it 2 weeks ago?
No, Dusty Roads, you're right.
Yeah.
Or Bastion Booger, one of the two.
Yeah, man. Woo.
Jeff, do you have any public speaking events going on this week?
Do I have anything coming up? I do not have anything coming up other than Sunday Night Stories on Sunday night. So there's that.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Here in this very club on Sunday night. Although we don't have anybody here downstairs. It's so funny. We keep getting people popping in, and we don't stop. We're like, hey, how are you doing? Come on up. Because it's like we don't want to like have to explain who the fuck we're doing every time. It's funny because like if somebody raised their hand and like, hey, they want to be in a part in the conversation, they could, but they're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
You've got hand permissions on, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If someone wants to raise a question, they can.
Yeah.
But until then, we just keep on doing a groovy thing.
Right.
We're on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. For YouTube, click the bell, subscribe, to get the content. Of course, follow us on Facebook. That's where we get all the crazy memes and stories. You download the show. You're on usual podcast hosting platforms. iTunes, Google, Spotify, Anchor. And, of course, now we're on the Clubhouse now. So if you're on the Clubhouse app or me or I'm on Club Deck, you can listen live or just listen as we announce new shows.
And the sound is really good too.
Yeah, you sound fabulous, Ivan.
Thank you.
Even with the air conditioner.
Yes. Email us at sotrtpodcast@gmail.com.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us here at the Squares of the Round Table on Clubhouse. And of course, next week we'll be featuring all manner of different subject matter and ephemera and things that might appease you, things that might please you, tease you, or amuse you, or at least leave you saying, huh? But hey, come join us next week at the Squares of the Round Table here on the Clubhouse. On behalf of Jeff.
Yeah, well, we should have quite a bit to talk about next week. I don't know. Let me ask before we go. Mike, how much do you think you're going to get through at Titans this week?
Probably not. Maybe only a couple episodes. I might not even be able to watch it. If the whole second season drops, or the third season drops, or is it a weekly release?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a really good question that I don't have an answer for. I don't know how many I'll get to. I mean,
we'll see.
Maybe that's something we talk about is when it drops, let's take a look and see. Because maybe what we can do is kind of like see if we can both agree to go to a certain number, at least for the week. And then we could kind of make it a weekly thing for a while where we could be like...
Right.
We could use it a couple weeks where we could be like, okay, hey, we watched episodes, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah blah blah.
This and more here on Clubhouse.
Well, and then we'll have What If as well too. So that'll be. We'll have quite a. Like I said, next week we'll have quite a bit of content back. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and then of course my usual prattle. So
What's your usual prattle?
Prattle. Is that like fiddle faddle?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that like grimace?
It doesn't taste as good. It's just prattle. Night.